Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Diversity Matters, where we highlight the voices, leaders, and programs that are making a real difference in expanding homeownership opportunities across the real estate industry. I'm your host, Teresa Palacio Smith, and today we're shining a spotlight on an organization that's helping make homeownership more attainable for first time and underserved buyers across the country. And that's Chenoa Fund. And joining me today is someone I deeply admire and have the pleasure of serving alongside on NARUP's corporate board of governors, and that's Miki Adams, who's the president of CB Mortgage Agency, the organization behind Chenoa Fund. And Miki has more than 30 years of experience in the mortgage lending business. She's a respected industry leader who has helped guide companies through calm and challenging markets. And today she's going to help us better understand how down payment assistance programs work, why it matters now more than ever, and how real estate professionals and lenders can make a bigger impact by working together. And Miki, welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you on. And really, one of the things that I always look to is better understand the background. How did you get into the mortgage industry, and how did you, especially into with Chenoa Fund and to CB Mortgage, because you've got 30 years of experience in your background.
Well, first, thank you, Teresa. Thanks for having me here today. It's a real pleasure and an honor to be able to spend this time with you. I have been in the industry for, as you say, 30 plus years. And like most in the industry, I just fell into it in my early 20s, and here I've stayed. During those 30 years, I've been primarily with small community banks, um, but in whole, it's always been in the mortgage lending aspect of it. What inspired me to take on a leadership role at CBCMA is a little different. What we do here at CBCMA speaks to the heart of what is so important to me personally. Building legacies that will last for generations to come is something that I've been able to experience in my personal life, and one that I deeply care about. Just a little bit about me or how I got here, why I'm here. In the latter part of the 1950s, 5 years before President Lyndon Johnson signed into law the Civil Rights Act, my parents, newlyweds at the time, were living paycheck to paycheck. My father was a fireman and my mother a housekeeper who spoke very limited English. They were expecting their first child and decided that they wanted to buy a home. After a few months of searching, they found a house in blue-collar Culver City, California. It was minutes from the neighborhood where my father grew up and where my grandparents still lived. My grandparents, while not wealthy, had agreed to help them with the down payment for the house. They met with a realtor and they signed a contract to buy a two-bedroom, one-bath home. And to them, this was going to be the home of their dreams. As soon as word got out, though, that the buyer of the house was a foreigner, a Japanese woman, a handful of neighbors drafted and circulated a petition among all the other residents of the neighborhood. Their goal was to prevent the sale from going through. Luckily, it wasn't successful, and it didn't deter my parents from purchasing their dream home. And that home became the tool that empowered them to further their dreams. In later years, they were committed to help funding the down payment for their own children's homes, just as my grandparents had done for them. 2 years ago, my father suddenly passed away. With my father's pension no longer available to my mother, life for her was looking pretty bleak. But for that starter home that they bought back in the 50s in Culver City that they never sold, 25 years after they purchased the starter home and with their children now grown, they followed their dreams and moved to Hawaii. And that first home in Culver City fueled their retirement and now continues to generate income from my mother, and will take care of her needs for the rest of her life.
That is such a beautiful story, number one. And how you hear about the discrimination that so many Asian Americans faced, Latinos, so many people people of color face. I just came from ARIA, and you hear those stories, that came across, with, even the covenants, right? Being written in covenants that people could not purchase homes. The fact that your parents were able to buy the homes, and then also now you are able to help other families with the process of down payment assistance, like your grandparents and then your parents helping you. I love that, and I did not know your heritage. What That's beautiful. I love hearing that. I love to hear too, a little bit more about Chenoa Fund. First of all, where are y'all headquartered?
We are headquartered in South Jordan, Utah,
Okay.
just south of Salt Lake City.
I
Mhm.
had learned that from Emmanuel because I know that that's how I learned a little bit about the Chenoa Fund. And he told me he was in Salt Lake City, Utah, which I thought, oh, wow, I didn't realize that the program was located there. Walk us through how Chenoa Fund works, which states is the program available in, and whether you partner with lenders across the country and which ones you do.
Absolutely. Thank you for the questions. We're proud of how much our program has grown since its inception almost 12 years ago. So here's how it works. The Chenoa Fund is a national down payment assistance program provided by CBC Mortgage Agency, a federally chartered government entity. We offer down payment assistance in the form of either a forgivable or a repayable second mortgage, typically paired with FHA insured first mortgages. Depending on the borrower's eligibility and the loan product selected, we can provide up to 3.5% or 5% of the home's purchase price, essentially covering all of the required down payment. The program is available in 49 states. We're currently not offered in New York due to regulatory reasons. But outside of that, we're a nationwide resource. In terms of partnerships, we work with a broad network of approved lenders across the country. Our goal is to make the program accessible, and that means working hand in hand with mortgage lenders of all sizes to ensure that they have the tools, the training, and the support needed to administer our program and help more families into homeownership. Ultimately, the goal is to increase access to homeownership, especially for those who are ready to buy but don't have the generational wealth or the savings for traditional down payment. And that's where we come in.
So when you say it's forgivable,
Mhm.
so explain that to me because that's a really attractive piece for people who are looking at buying their first home, because a lot of people don't understand that. That's a huge, huge asset. I mean, to have something that where you don't have to pay it back.
Yeah, I agree with you, Teresa. And so the forgivable product or program works in such a way that after the borrower has made 36 months of on-time payments on their first mortgage, we will forgive in its entirety the down payment assistance second mortgage. And what that does is it really incents the borrower to make sure that they're paying on time. We also provide, along with our program, whether it's a repayable or forgivable, all of our borrowers are enrolled in our Borrower Success Program. The Borrower Success Program is a initiative that we started several years ago where we have partnered with a nationwide HUD-approved housing counseling agency to provide post-purchase counseling to all of our borrowers to help support them through the first 18 months of home ownership. That gets them about halfway there to that 36 months. But our goal is to really try to help them succeed in long-term home ownership. So with this agency, we stay connected with the borrower on a monthly basis. We're checking in with them, seeing how they're doing, mentoring them, coaching them, helping them with any, financial hardships or maintenance issues that they may have. Um, just the nuts and bolts of being a homeowner.
Is there a fee to that, Mickey? For that?
No. Yeah.
This is so beautiful. So,
Yeah.
in other words, everyone out there, if you're not listening, 36 months. So in other words, 3 years. So you stay in a home for 3 years. So that 5% is gone. You don't have to pay that back. It's a grant. And then you're also getting 18 months of free advice, someone monitoring if you have any issues. There's a lot of times that you don't really understand the things that happen in a home, just to check in and make sure you're on time, you're targeted, you haven't seen any unforeseen expenses that kind of happen once you get into a home. They're helping you through that process. I think that is beautiful because, when I bought my first home, I did not realize, like, I even had to buy, I bought a brand new home, the paper towel holder, all the stuff that I didn't realize I had to buy right when I bought my house. So learning all those extra added costs that you have to kind of build into really would have helped me having someone to kind of go through everything I needed to learn in the process and having someone to talk to. I think that's really a wonderful feature that Chenoa Funds offers. Now, one of the things that you also talked about was with your mother having kept that first home and being able to build upon the fact that you had bought your house. Home ownership is so, so key in that generational wealth building and a key factor because a lot of people don't realize that home ownership is about 40 times greater in building generational wealth than a renter. It's the Federal Reserve has done a survey back in 2022 and showed that. So how is that how does that being able to preserve, the wealth for people and especially in underserved populations for Chenoa funds? What's the importance of that?
Well, it really addresses our primary mission. Our primary goal is to help close the gap, the wealth gap for the underserved market. I'm really proud of the fact that we've managed to lend that over 60% of our borrowers are minority borrowers. 40% of those are in, over 40% actually, in low to moderate income areas. Just like my parents, I've been able to see how that first home really helped them to build that generational wealth, which, in my mother's case, helps her with being able to retire comfortably, but also that helps our um, underserved population have the ability to create the wealth needed to start businesses, to send their children to college, and just is so important. And it's wonderful to be part of a company that sees that as their primary goal.
Well, if you look at your story, one generation from being the president of a bank that offers the opportunity to others to do the same that your grandparents did for you, but you are now running this. I think that's just so touching. I really do. And there's some myths to the fact that, you said 60% are people, but 40% are not. So what are the biggest myths or misunderstandings about programs like the Chenoa Fund that you'd like to clarify?
Well,
Because I think that's really important.
yes, thank you, Teresa. That's a great question. And yes, so it isn't just those underserved the underserved demographic that struggles to save for a down payment. In today's market, as everyone has experienced, affordability is such a huge challenge that it's not just the underserved. Again, it's millennials, it's those that are young professionals that have come out of college and have student loan debt, not able to save up enough money for that down payment assistance. And just the overall cost of buying a home today is just so extraordinarily high that lots of different demographics need that assistance. So I would say that along with not having income limits. So some state housing programs may have, or down payment assistance programs may have income limits. We don't have any restrictions on your income. You still qualify. And that's part of, there's a huge need to sort of fill that void for
Can you
higher.
bundle this with other programs that are available?
Yes, yes, you
So
can.
that's another advantage. So in other words, this is like a super, like, I mean, I think this is unbelievable. What you're seeing today is a lot of millennials generation, the next generation Z coming in and purchasing homes that are in markets like Atlanta, like LA, like, San Francisco, like California, New York, Florida, markets that have gotten expensive but are still attainable, but might be difficult because if you look at the rental markets today, paying rent is almost as much as buying a home. So, meaning it's hard to save money. If you're paying the same amount of rent that you're paying in mortgage, a lot of your, disposable income is going toward rent. So how can you save that money? So this allows single women's, which are the largest buyers of today's homeownership, as surveys show, to be able to have that percentage to put down because now Chenoa Funds is available for you, along with those other individuals in these expensive markets to be able to do that. Now, one of the questions that I get is how I know that so many times money does run out, like of the funds.
Mhm.
So is there, a way that you preserve it? How do we know what the bottom line is so that people can actually subscribe or apply for those funds? And the fact that you have no income limits is unbelievable as well, Mickey. I did not realize that.
Yes. So you're right. You're correct in that some programs, there are over 2,000 down payment assistance programs in the country. Lots of them receive federal or state funding or local funding. And so they do, to your point, run out of money at some point during the year, or can. We are self-funded. We do not receive any government subsidies of any kind. So we don't. We're a consistent ongoing source. We have a consistent ongoing source of funding. Um, so we can ensure that the program is available all year round.
I love that. One of the things that we both have in common is that we serve on NAR's corporate board of governors, which I think is unbelievable because it really does play a vital role in shaping strategy and advocacy around Latino homeownership. So, what does that being a part of CBOG mean to you? And how do you work, how does your work with Chenoa Fund align with that, especially their mission and their values?
Well, it's truly an honor to serve on NAREP's CBOG. Being part of CBOG means having a seat at the table where real change happens, where we can help shape strategy, policy, and advocacy efforts that directly impact Latino home ownership and financial empowerment across the country. For me, this work is very deeply personal and deeply aligned with what we do at Chenoa Fund. At its core, NAREP's mission is about advancing sustainable Hispanic homeownership, breaking down systemic barriers, and promoting wealth building through real estate. That aligns perfectly with the Chenoa Fund's commitment to expanding access to homeownership, particularly for first-time and underserved communities. We know that Latinos represent the fastest growing segment of new homeowners, but they also face significant barriers from limited savings for down payments to a lack of generational wealth and credit access. At Chenoa Fund, we're working every day to help remove those barriers, whether that's by offering down payment assistance with flexible guidelines, educating our lender partners to better serve diverse markets, or advocating for policies that make homeownership more accessible. Being part of CBOG allows me to bring that perspective into the broader national conversation while also learning from incredible industry leaders, as you know we have, who are just as passionate about creating meaningful long-term solutions. It's a powerful synergy, and I'm really proud to be part of it.
One of the things that I've learned through that great group of minds is that we work together to really kind of come up with solutions that help our industry and really start to learn about the different programs that I was not aware existed, within our communities that better serve the clients all together, And so that's how I found out about what you do. And certainly it's a benefit to our agents and to our Prosperity Home Mortgage, which is our client, who we operate with. So, how can our agents and also our lenders work better and collaborate with a partnership with you so that they can actually expand access to home ownership?
Well, partnership is true. It's at the heart of everything we do. Real estate professionals and lenders can collaborate with Chenoa Fund by first getting educated on how our down payment assistance works, and how it can help. From there, it's about integrating that knowledge into their conversations with clients, especially first-time buyers who may not realize home ownership is within reach. We found that there is just a dearth of understanding and information out there to the actual consumer about down payment assistance programs. And it really starts with the real estate professional, right there, the beginning of that chain into home ownership, usually. So we welcome outreach to any of our team. Our team can help with getting them started and understanding how the program works and how we can work with you. We've partnered at different home buyer events. We're starting to collaborate with some of our lenders on future future homeowner events, home buyer events. Really looking at ways in which we can really get out there, sort of boots on the ground, and meeting with consumers to educate them more. And we would love to have that opportunity to do that with realtors and lenders as much as possible. So just reaching out, M&O is a great start, a great person to contact. We'd love to be able to work more with our realtor partners.
So let me understand this. So, for example, if somebody is interested, let's say it's a lender. So,
Mhm.
what they do is they kind of sign up with you
Right.
to learn the process, because there obviously is a process to making sure that they understand how to apply the program, how the secondary mortgage is done within your within the paperwork, right? And then applied, and then they become one of your providers, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
Approved providers. And then that process, then they're approved, right? Now, what if somebody doesn't have a lender, they can then go through CBC
Right.
agency.
They can reach out to us and we can connect them with one of our approved lender
Perfect. So
partners.
they can do that if, for example, they're just a realtor out there, they don't have a connection with anybody, they can go
Yeah.
through an approved provider that you have already.
Yes. Yep.
Perfect, because that's something that I just wanted to clarify for those that may not have contact or connection with anyone.
Yes.
So one of the things that we're seeing right now, it is a tough market, right? So what trends are you seeing and that concern you, and where do you see opportunity for innovation and change right now in the marketplace, especially when it comes to lending products or also in the real estate side?
So as I touched on just a minute ago, I would say one of the most concerning trends for me is that, what we're seeing right now is the persistent lack of awareness around down payment assistance programs. Despite the existence of over 2,000 DPA programs nationwide, many eligible home buyers remain unaware that there's down payment assistance available. In fact, a survey, I believe it's Urban Institute survey, found that only 31% of participants in that survey had sought out home buyer assistance, such as down payment assistance grants, prior to their purchase. And that suggests that there's a significant number that don't know that programs exist. This gap in awareness is particularly troubling given the current housing market challenges with high home prices and elevated mortgage rates. Affordability, as I mentioned earlier, also is a significant hurdle for many, especially first time and low to moderate income buyers. Down payment assistance can be a game changer, yet it is just so underutilized due to the knowledge gap. The opportunity here lies in enhancing education and outreach efforts, and by leveraging technology, partnerships, and targeted communication, we can better inform potential buyers about the available assistance programs. This not only empowers individuals to achieve home ownership, but it also promotes more equitable access to housing opportunities. Excuse me.
So what are like, is there an interest rate differential when they go through your program? Is there an uptick in the rate? I'm just curious.
You will usually find that the rate is might be slightly higher than the average rate, average 30-year mortgage rate, but that really is dependent upon the lender. We don't get involved in the setting of interest rates for first mortgages.
This is wonderful to know. Now you did mention that it goes through FHA
Mhm.
when you first, so it goes through FHA, so it's an FHA backed loan. And then the mortgage company that you go through is the one that will set the rate. So
Correct.
I'm okay. So I'm really getting a clear picture. Now, one of the things that I know that you've let through, so you've been, and I've done as well, is
Mhm.
that we've gone through some stable and turbulent times in the mortgage industry and the real estate industry. So, what are some of the lessons that you've learned, especially as we are looking today, navigating change, policy shifts, and then market challenges? And I will say that I just saw that Pulte has requested that interest rates uh, come down. I don't know if you saw that this morning,
No.
that he has requested rates to come down. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm praying, right? What do
Mhm.
you think?
Well, it's hard to say. I would be very happy to, have their plea be heard. But that's a great question, and I think anyone who's been in this industry for a while will tell you that the only constant is change, whether it's market volatility, regulatory shifts, or economic uncertainty. Strong leadership during turbulent times requires, I believe, a few key things. First, I think clarity of purpose is very important. In times of uncertainty, people look to leaders for stability and direction. I've learned that it's critical to return to your mission. Stick with your core mission. Remind your team why the work matters. For us at Chenoa Fund, the mission has always been clear, and that is to expand access to home ownership for those who need it most. That purpose anchors us, no matter what external forces are in play. Second, communication is everything. You have to over communicate during change, be transparent, even if the answers aren't all there you need to be transparent. People can handle uncertainty better when they feel informed, included, and heard. Third, adaptability is strength, not a compromise. I've learned that leading through policy changes or market shifts means staying flexible and solution oriented. It's about being responsive, not reactive. For example, when rates spiked or when DPA programs came under new scrutiny, we didn't retreat. We leaned into innovation. We reassessed our approach, and we found ways to keep moving forward while maintaining compliance and mission integrity. And then lastly, invest in your people. The best strategies fall flat without a strong team. Whether you're navigating growth or weathering headwinds, having a team that's motivated, values driven, and supported makes all the difference. And at the end of the day, I really feel that leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's about creating the conditions for people to stay focused, to stay hopeful, and keep driving toward impact, towards finding solutions. Now, you don't have to have all the solutions. If you're, a leader, you really lean into your people and work together, even when the road gets bumpy.
I love that. That's so beautiful. First of all, what a beautiful mission. What a great job and role that you have, Miki, to help others get into the most beautiful thing that we can offer, and that's a home, a place for people to live, to form their families, to create memories. And I know that my question, as we almost end our broadcast, is, what? And you already talked about your mother and your parents and the fact that they bought their first home, but I know that this has got to be probably one of the most rewarding roles that you've ever had. I would imagine that it would be mine. This is what I love is when I am able, when I sold real estate, was helping people get into the home and finding the memories. And when their kids go through and, walk through their houses and walk to their rooms and picked out their room, all of that. So what has been a memorable, one for you, that you can share with our audiences, of that has reaffirmed, or experience that you've had that has reaffirmed your mission at Chenoa?
Yes, well, I'd love to share one that really has stuck with me. And first of all, I share those same views that you just expressed, Teresa. I love occasionally we get, actually not occasionally, frequently we actually do get videos of our new families. It's something that we love. So we encourage, and I love to see those kids playing in their new backyard. There are so many stories that just really touch me. But this recent one of ours was from a mother, Chelsea, who came to us. She was a two-time breast cancer survivor and a mom of five. She had overcome so much, and like so many families, what stood between her and home ownership was the down payment. Through the Chenoa Fund, she was able to receive the assistance she needed and finally purchase a home for her and her children. That's the kind of story that reminds you exactly why this work matters. It's not just about numbers or loans. It's about people. It's about giving families a sense of stability and dignity and opportunity. Every day we hear stories like Chelsea's from people all over the country who just need a little support to achieve something life-changing. And when you realize the ripple effect that home ownership can have for children and for communities, for future generations, it makes this work incredibly meaningful. Chelsea's story isn't the exception. As I was saying, it's a powerful reminder of what's possible when we remove barriers and we invest in people's futures. And that's what drives our mission here at the Chenoa Fund.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I know that you've touched so many lives by helping people with that one thing that they're able to actually, get into and achieve, that dream. I love it because, I always see, and I hear so much that we are becoming a rentership society. And, that's, today more than ever, that middle income, is becoming more and more, invisible, right? We're not seeing that. You're seeing a separation of those that have and those that do not. And so I think more and more it's so important to highlight programs like yours, people like you, Miki, that lead with heart, that create opportunities for those that really are dreaming for the real dream. Nobody ever dreamed about being a renter. That's a Jerry Asensio. I want to give him credit for stating that at a National Association of Realtors event, that who dreams of being a renter? Nobody, right? We all dream of owning a place that's ours, that we can build families, that we can have, and that we can talk about. And so that's what you're doing. You're helping families, individuals, and people be able to call a place home. So thank you for that. As we end, I always like to learn more about my guest. I always like to have something fun to kind of learn about you. Tell me something that people may not know about you or may be surprised to learn, about you.
Oh gosh, well,
Was that hard to come up?
it's always hard to come up with something like that. I don't tend to think so much about what I've done,
I'm
but
surprised to hear that you were Japanese.
oh,
Do you
yeah,
speak Japanese?
very little. I was very busy growing up helping to teach my mother English. I didn't. I do know a little bit, and we do communicate a little bit in Japanese together. Well, let's see. So, as a teen, I was all about surfing. No shock there, growing up in Southern California during the 70s. Surfboard was basically a second limb. Tandem surfing was my thing, though, mostly
Wow.
because it combined waves with the built-in buddy system. You have to have balance, trust, and coordination. And I really enjoyed that. I even entered a few contests and managed to snag a first and second place.
Wow, I would have never thought that. That's very cool. See, I don't know because I'm from the South, never, California, I don't know the California culture as well, but that's very cool. So you were a surfer girl, surfer girl.
Growing up, that was a long time ago.
That's very nice. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to join us today, Mickey, to learn a little bit more about you and to also share the experiences that you've had as somebody in the industry, sharing your wisdom, your experience, and most of all, the heart of Chenoa Fund and the work that you do. It's certainly leaders like you that are making such a lasting difference in our industry and also for families across the country. And for those of you who are really wanting to learn more about Chenoa Fund, I think it's a really important down payment program. You need to visit their website, which is chenoafund.org. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Nikki? Okay, so chenoafund.org. And if you're a real estate professional and really want to make a big impact, I encourage you to explore how you can partner with them. Just reach out to me and I'll make sure to connect you. And then just as a reminder that on June 11th, if you are interested, we have our Women Who Lead episode, and that's going to feature another group of dynamic women that are going to be joining us, and it's going to be called Bold Catalysts. It's all these brand new women that are leading brand new leadership roles with vision and purpose. And then we're going to also come back on June 25th with another episode of Diversity Matters. So join us right here on this channel so that you can watch that. And you can also watch our this episode and more because they're all archived on diversitymattersseries.com. So make sure to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn so you never miss an episode. So thank you for watching Diversity Matters. And until next time, keep showing up, speaking out, and leading with purpose. Bye bye, everyone. We appreciate you joining us. Mickey, thank you again for the opportunity to share your company and also your experience.
Thank you.